Here we go! We can move on to the direct that was today, Pokemon Day.
Yes, sir. All right. So we finally have our titles for this new Generation 8 Pokemon. Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. Interesting titles, to say the least. But I do like their logos. They're very intricate. I love the wolf head. I assume it's a wolf head on the hilt of the sword and on the shield as well. Of course, it's weird though. Like you got sword and shield, but the colors are still red and blue. I like that. But yeah, this direct was pretty no nonsense. I anticipated the direct to be all fluff, and then here's what the graphics engine looks like. Pretty much what they did
in X
when they announced it's Sun and Moon. With Sun and Moon, they basically did like Pokemon trainers. You've been playing Pokemon for 20 years. You've shared experiences with friends and family for 20 years. You've been trading with people for 20 years. So they basically really went hard on the 20th anniversary. And then at the very end, and now in 2016, get ready to experience the latest in your favorite video game series. And then they show like concept art. They show them working on the game. You see Junichi Masuda standing over somebody's shoulder, pointing to get pictures. Then you see them actually building the 3D model for Pikipek. And then you get a slight look at the graphics engine, but then they just hit you with the titles. Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. And that's pretty much it. That's how that direct ended. And I was like, wow, that was a fluff piece. Like that direct makes like that. What's the point of even making a direct for that? You didn't announce anything.
No, that's fair. I was mostly thinking of X and Y. I was thinking that they just mostly like didn't even really like hype it up. They just kind of like talked for 3 to 4 minutes of like, and then showed like a 2-minute trailer, and then a lot of the talking part could have just been kind of like they didn't tell you anything about it though. That's my big issue. Like. They talk like we have the presentators. You have Masuda. You have it wasn't Ishihara, was it? I forget who was all in the direct so far, but you had these people just talking. They were very to the point. They gave you information, and I liked that this time. And then there was always like a graphic of showing either a background in the game or actual gameplay footage present. So it was just a constant content that you want to see. I liked that.
Yeah, well, this one was the Sun and Moon one was way more fluff. This one they didn't really play around. They're just like, here's the name of the game, here's a trailer, and here are the starters.
Now going back to the logos, one thing I wanted to point out is we don't have either the trailer or the logos are 2 legendaries for the game. We don't know those at all, and they're not present in the logos either.
No, I mean, yeah, but we still have yet to see the box art though. So I guess that's where they're gonna do their legendary reveals.
And I'm not sure. I don't see a Z Crystal or Mega Stone or a third thing either. So potentially those aren't. There's no new mechanic or no new Megas or Z moves potentially as well.
Yeah. They didn't give us anything of like real substance in this. They're just like, hey, we know you're anticipating it. We want to let you know that we're working on it. So we're going to show you the basics. So with that, since they did just show us the basics, let's start with let's talk about the graphics real quick. So a lot of what we saw in the trailer was those were all renders. That was all rendered CGI, probably the opening cutscene for the game. That being said, though, looked really good on the Switch. Like, those graphics look really nice. Then we actually start to see then we move into the character, and I'm pleasantly surprised. Like I know a lot of people were expecting like this epic like Breath of the Wild art style because that's what the Pokemon company said. Oh, we were so inspired by Breath of the Wild that we want to make this amazing graphically intensive open world Pokemon game. I'm glad that they stuck with
their guns.
Yeah, and it looks like a traditional 3DS Pokemon game. Okay, that's not true. Okay, so if Pokemon Let's Go looked like a traditional Pokemon game on the Switch, this is a step above that, but it's not so far advanced that you see it as a completely different like franchise. It looks very Pokemon-esque, and I was very happy that they stuck to that art style. And the character is a little bit taller. He looks a little bit older, but we all know that it doesn't matter. They're always 10. But I did appreciate that. I love the towns that they showed in the cityscape. Graphically, all that stuff looks really good, and it just goes to show that the move to the Nintendo Switch it's worth the wait. Yes, we are moving into we're moving into year 3 with the Nintendo Switch, but thus far it was well worth the wait because graphically, this is the best looking Pokemon game
ever.
Period. Yeah, like just period. And I was very happy to see it. I was like, okay, wow, I like the way this looks. Like the colors are bright, the atmosphere of the game looks very nice, and just as far as a Pokemon game, you compare that to Sun and Moon, and it's like
leaps and bounds,
a major step up. Yeah, like, I know it's easy to compare it to Pokemon Let's Go, but to be honest, because this is a real main series game, your real comparison point should be
Sun and Moon
and Ultra Moon, because those are the last mainline games. Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun and Moon, those 4 games should be your comparison point for Pokemon Sword and Shield. So you compare those two, massive jump in graphics. But Game Freak did what they do best. They maintained their style.
One thing I want to actually transition into that is that one thing that it struck me as similar to is their game Town. It looked a lot like Town, but with a bit more detail in the textures and in like rooms. Because I don't know if we've seen rooms in Town, but it looked a lot like Town in terms of the colors and maybe some like the trees and things and hills. It struck me as very similar to Town.
I'm actually going to pull up the trailer again real quick, just because I just want to take a look at this. Here, mute. Yeah, I mean, you look at the texture work that they put in this game. Like, you see blades of grass, man, and I love it. Like when you see the house for the trainer, it's covered in like
ivy.
Yeah, there's like leaves and flowers everywhere. Even the mailbox has like flowers growing around it. This actually reminds me a lot of like some of the venues I would see when I lived in Germany, when I would drive through towns in Germany. This is what I would see a lot of, and I just love like this old stonework. You see like on the fence, you see the individual stones. It's very, very clear. I think they did a fantastic job.
I want this house. That house, I want to live in that house one day. That's my dream house.
And yeah, and even if you just look at things like the trainer's clothing, it's so hyper detailed. And then
he has a very big backpack, the male trainer.
He does. And then you get into the city and you see all the bricks that make up the buildings. You see the train, and you see the train tracks, and they have like this dingy quality to them, like the outsides of them haven't been washed. You see like bits of grime everywhere. Like they did a really good job. And then I'm assuming that's a gym with the giant leaf on the front of it. So that gym looks fantastic. And there's a part where like the camera zooms out and you see like a battlefield with a Pokeball in the center of it. Like all that stuff looks really good. Graphically, this looks great. And I'm kind of getting vibes of what's that Pokemon game on the GameCube?
Oh my gosh.
Coliseum. Was it Coliseum? Was the one where you play as the trainer who with the who unbrainwashes the Pokemon?
No, it's Gale of Darkness XD, but it's like the sequel to Coliseum or something, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. If we're looking at
Gale of Darkness XD.
That's the you take that and then you look at this, and this is like this is the console we needed a Pokemon game on. It looked fantastic. Man, and just even that like soccer stadium looks really, really good. I'm assuming it's soccer stadium.
So I really want to talk about that. I wasn't sure if it was going to thanks at the end of the trailer or not, but the fact that we have a soccer stadium could mean so many different things. This could be a gym, just a soccer gym where you play soccer or something. I don't know. It could be just a mini game, and I'm kind of hoping, maybe not mini game, but like a mini thing you can do. One thing I really want from this is I want the world to to be more, honestly, more like Animal Crossing, where I can go on a bug catching contest every Thursday, a fishing contest every Tuesday, go like do like delivery quests for my friends. Like I want just some stuff like that. So you had bug catching contests before. I want them back, but I also want maybe like weekly events in the game that can tie me over. And you can do it. I know you can do it, and I want more. That's the one big thing I want. Is like a bug catching contest of some kind weekly would be cool. So give us a soccer tournament every week. That would be fun. But it could be a gym. It could be, I think, in Black and White there was like a sports arena where you just sort of battle people on the arenas, though, which wasn't as cool. It could be that. But also you mentioned that the stadium with the leaf on it was a gym. It might not be a gym per se. We're assuming it is, or it might be like a leaf trial. It could be a trial that takes place in a stadium, or all gyms could all be soccer matches now.
That's something I guess we could talk about near the end is the gym system. Mm-hmm. But I actually want to go ahead and I want to move into the region part of this discussion.
Yes.
The Galar region. So a lot of people are saying that this is based on the UK. I can see what they're saying there. There's a lot of like UK influences, but I'm thinking this is a little bit more than just the UK because I'm getting a lot of like European vibes from this trailer, just from the way that the overall style of dress of the trainers and the people in the world. But yeah, I can totally see like the UK vibes, and I like the region. What's weird about the region for me is that it looks like you start like at the bottom of the region and you're pretty much just working your way up.
I wanted to talk about that. It looks very vertical and linear.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if I like that.
I've had a region like that before. Most of the regions usually expand outwards. So I was tripped out. I was like, huh. That is an interesting design for the region.
It's not I'm not gonna hate it immediately, but I want it to not be sort of just like a straight line progression. I want to be spread out more with this sort of overall painting, graphic, render, concept art, whatever of it. That's obviously the paths and the routes are all skewed. There might be more routing to the region, which I'm hoping there is. I don't necessarily need to have this in open world Breath of the Wild Pokemon, but I don't want to be just walking in a straight line down to up. I would be kind of upset if that's all my map time was. I don't know.
I am pulling up an overlay map of like England versus the Galar region.
I feel like it looks kind of like England in shape. It's just much more stretched out vertically of England.
Yeah, I can totally see that. Well, if you include the entire United Kingdom, then it starts to resemble it.
Yeah, it's definitely just all of UK. It's got Ireland. I wouldn't be surprised if you're starting off in Ireland and working your way to London.
Yeah, so if you take the whole thing, it builds up so that it's very similar. But yeah, I mean, it's weird. The region is weird because I'm like, okay, I've never seen such a vertical region, but at the same time, it's an interesting concept. It also kind of depends on how much influence they took from Breath of the Wild, like how expansive it is. Like, because even though it's like one long thing, if it takes you a good minute to get from one side to the other, a la Breath of the Wild, that could be really interesting. But personally, right now, because of the way that this map looks, I'm expecting a much more pared down region than we previously. Like, I don't think we're gonna spend a lot of times in those mountains and stuff off to the side. Like the things that are towards the side, I don't think we'll spend a lot of time with. Actually, it's really hard to kind of depict the routes according to this map. But I like the concept, and obviously, if this is based on the United Kingdom, the region definitely has affected the sense of style that the characters have. And obviously, the title Sword and Shields, you think of England, especially back in the day, you think of knights and you know, with their armor and kings and all that stuff, their swords and their shields. and that actually makes a whole lot of sense. That you have like this very like royalty and knights motif behind the naming of the game. So I'm really interested to see what this region has to offer. I would have loved to have seen some region exclusive Pokemon because I can only imagine what the Pokemon in this region look like. But I would assume that Aegislash is a good
mascot.
Yeah, he would be a good template from what we should be able to expect in this region. Yeah.
If it is based off the UK, there's not enough scaffolding in all the buildings. It's just there's not. You go to England and there's scaffolding everywhere on every building. There's just not enough of it here, so I'm not convinced. It's got to be some very new country. What are the newest countries in the world?
I hope there's a couple NPCs from like the Kalos region, pretty much just talking about like, oh, there was a conflict between Kalos and
I was gonna get to that.
Region. It's just like you have like
2,000 years. France and England warring.
Exactly.
That great Pokemon war from 2,000 years ago.
I would love it if they made reference to the fact that they've been at war at some point. Oh, especially over something like religious, where like Kalos talks about, oh, this, we worship this, and then the Galar region, blah blah blah. It'd be so interesting to like play that, especially. It would be really interesting because you think about the vicinity of the United Kingdom and France. It'd be really interesting if they played that up with the Galar region and the Kalos region. Play up their vicinity with one another, and you can do so much with the actual story. That's what really gets me excited about this region specifically, because I start thinking about what kind of story elements that could actually interconnect these two regions to one another. So I think that's really cool. Actually, it'd be really cool if there was a little Kalos region post game.
I know. I at least want to see Lumiose. Able to see Lumiose on the Switch. That's what I really want here. It's just the only part of Kalos I want is just Lumiose City, to see that on the Switch.
Yeah. So I did want to read the official description that the Pokemon Company has for the Galar region. And I don't know why I had this open, but it's not open now.
An expansive region with many environments, idyllic countryside, contemporary cities, thick forests, and craggy, snow-covered mountains. The people and Pokemon live together in this region, and they've worked together to develop the industries here. You'll visit the various gyms in the Galar region, aiming for the enviable and admirable title of champion. Coming soon.
Thank you. Yes, I love that description. I also love I love the description, the contemporary cities, the thick forests, and the craggy snow-covered mountains. So this is a region unlike any other. Where there are so many different, just what is it called? There's so many different types of terrain to experience. Yeah, there's so many different types of terrain to experience. I don't think we've had like snow-covered mountains in a 3D Pokemon game in a while. I think the last
Gen 4.
Yeah, Gen 4.
That's not 3D, so
yeah, no. So this is
you had Kalos. You had Alola had the volcano that was kind of snowy, but
yeah, I thought that was Ash.
I don't know. It looked like because that's where you found like the lone Vulpix, right?
Yeah, sure. You're right.
Yeah,
but yeah. I mean, they didn't look this way. I mean, look at these mountains.
No.
These mountains look amazing.
They are mountains, not tropical island high peak volcano mountains.
I wonder how you're gonna climb them. Like, it'd be cool to see some Breath of the Wild style climbing up the mountain.
you ride Pokemon up the mountain.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
No, but I love that. I love just like this, all the different types of terrain. So you got like the forest areas, you've got like the mountainous areas, then you've got your cities and your towns, and all of it looks really intriguing. There's a couple little islands off to the side. I doubt you can go to them, but it'd be really nice. It's just so much here. Oh, I'm excited about this region. Even though like I think it's an odd vertical design.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a very interesting design for a region. And so I'm totally like looking at them side by side. I totally see how this is very representative of the United Kingdom.
One last thing in terms of like the environment of the region, I want them to bring back not only the day-night cycle, the weather cycles, but the season cycles. And if it's not always raining, I'm going to be disappointed.
I want to see like really thick fog when you get to like
Yeah.
the London section of the game. Like I want it to be like super thick. I've been to London, so I want to see the same type of fog that I experienced in that region.
But that's exactly like a bit of overcast fog, some wet drizzles, and some rain. Just always though, like give me the weather cycle and the season cycle, but just always have it that.
Oh man, I would love that, dude. There's just so much going on with this region. I'm super excited about the region. I don't know why. Okay, so we actually got a comment from my homeboy. It says, I think the linear shape might be because it's an open world, so they control the progress better if you can go from south to north. That was added in the comment section.
Okay, no, that's fair.
And I didn't see this, but we also had another comment when we were talking about the Pokemon movie trailer. He said Mewtwo looked odd, but that's neither here nor there. I like the design. Take it back. Guys, so thank you for joining us. But yeah, like if it is a little bit more open world, it does make sense that you can go from south to north, and it just makes the game a little bit more linear. And because that is a problem with Breath of the Wild. Like, it took me hours before I figured out where to go in that game. Like, I didn't until I found Mifa's brother, whose name escapes me right now. I had no idea where I was going or what I was doing in that game.
I think that's what they wanted you to feel. They didn't want you to figure you wanted to just stumble upon your objective as you explored the world, right?
Yeah, that was the intention. And I get that to an extent, but at the same time, like, that game is big and long and very long. Like, a little bit more direction would have been slightly more beneficial. Just a little bit more direction. I'm not saying like
hold. They didn't want to give you any though. They wanted you to drop you in blind. Say, here's a world, explore it. That's honestly what, and I think they did that really well. I think that was exactly what they went for. They didn't want you to have any kind of a clue what you were doing.
Yeah, but based off of the structure of this region, what Chris said here actually makes a lot of sense. That it would be easier to control progress if it is more linear like that because of the verticality of the region. All in all, I'm really excited about this region. Like, I'm excited about the terrain. I'm excited to find out what kind of Pokemon live in this region. But I think that's it for the Galar region. I think we can go ahead and move into our starter Pokemon. So we got 3 as always. We have some very interesting starters this time around. So we have Grookey, the grass type Pokemon. He is a mischievous chimp Pokemon that is full of boundless curiosities. Then we have Scorbunny, a rabbit Pokemon that is always running about, bursting with energy. And I love the fact that he has a Band-Aid on his face to kind of show you that he's always running around, so he's getting hurt. And then we have, I don't even know how to say this,
Sobble, right?
Yes, I guess. So we have
Sobble.
And Sobble is a somewhat timid water lizard Pokemon that shoots out attacks as it hides itself in water. And I love the trailer, how they reveal Sobble in the trailer, where he has like a camouflage ability. He looks a little bit like a newt. And that expression on his face, he's just got there like, what? I love that look. Like, these are interesting starters. The only one of these 3 that I'm not feeling is Grookey, and it's because we've had a Grass Monkey Pokemon before, and we really didn't need another.
I don't know. I really like Grookey. Like, Grookey's competing with Sobble for me right now. Like, I'm always gonna pick my water starters, but Grookey, one thing I'm kind of skeptical about, just based off these descriptions and a bit on their designs, I'm wondering if we're going to get Sobble, the water psychic, Scorbunny, the unfortunate firefighting, and Grookey, the grass dark. Because Grookey's mischievous, and I can see him becoming a dark type later on. Scorbunny has that straight up fighting type kick build, and it's got lots of energy always running around. And Sobble, the timidness and the invisibility quirk seem to lend itself maybe to a bit of psychic type.
This is gonna be weird, but I actually had to look up if newts are indigenous to the UK. There are 3 types of newts that are from the UK. Just because like, sometimes you can, you look at the starters and you can kind of get a hint at their region, the specifics of their region. But then you see a grass monkey and like, there are no monkeys in London. Maybe at
That's
the
what they want you to think. I never liked the idea of like them having to base a good chunk of the Pokemon on a region like that the region is. I think it's a cool nod, but I'd rather just have them explore more freedom with their Pokemon designs and just give us like something that just does not belong there. And say this is a cool Pokemon. We're making this Pokemon. You're gonna like it. It doesn't matter if we're in France. You're getting this giant beetle. I don't know what I'm saying, but
personally, my favorite of the three is Scorbunny, but Sobble is like a close runner up. The look on his face makes me love
Scorbunny.
Sobble, but Sobble.
Yeah.
But Scorbunny, I love like the that you can see how energetic that Pokemon is. Like, I love it. I love his like longer. He reminds me of the Trix Rabbit, and maybe that's what it is. Silly rabbit tricks are for kids. I love it. I love the colors that they chose for him really stand out. He's all white, but he's got those hints of orange. But yeah, these are fun starters. Like I said, even though I'm not a big fan of Grookey, it's a very unique design for a Pokemon. We're starting to see more rounded starter Pokemon designs. Now, doesn't look like any of these are dual type. As far as what they're showing right now.
Right now, they don't confirm them until I can get the three latest, the final three whatevers. Unless it's obviously a flying type like Rowlet.
I'm very interested to see what the final designs of these Pokemon are. Because I honestly think, because I'm looking at Sobble and I'm like, he's going to turn into like a Greninja type. Where you're going to get to that final evolution and he is going to look straight up beast mode. Even design-wise, he shares a lot of similarities with Froakie.
Yeah, I agree there. But I thought the same thing about Poplio in Gen 7, and I was very wrong. Primarina is not a Greninja. They are not the same.
So I'm super excited about these starters. I'm debating because I'm not this perplexed as to which Pokemon I should start with. Normally I see what I want to get immediately. This is the first time I'm truly conflicted.
Yeah.
It's like Scorbunny or Sobble. I might just get both games and then just do a round with each.
I'm probably getting both, honestly, yeah. But
yeah, I always end up buying both games, but like
I don't know
who I'm going to start with.
I'm not. I don't got that kind of money. I can only afford one most of the time. Unfortunately. One thing that I've been wanting Pokemon to do, I know they'll never ever do it, but maybe they'll prove me wrong. This is the game that'll prove me wrong, is they'll give us branching starter evolutions.
I would love to do that, but I have like this, I feel like this little Digimon-esque for Pokemon.
I mean, but like you look at, if they gave us a Ralts as a starter, a Oddish as a starter, and then like I don't know who the third one would be. Not Shedinja, or I don't know what I'm saying. But like give us the options to like pick like based on if it's male or female, or give us an evolution stone to get the alternate evolution line of a starter, and all three of them have them.
Poliwag or Politoed.
Yeah, exactly. And then all three of the starters have a branch final evolution though. I think that would be cool. And so you essentially have 6 different starter final evolutions.
I actually wonder which Pokemon will make a reappearance in this region. I feel like a lot of the Kalos region Pokemon should have a lot of crossover just because think about the vicinity of these of where these two regions could potentially be. But that being said, love these starters. They're adorable. I cannot wait to see their mid and final evolutions because I think that's really gonna help me decide. Because like right now, it's a conundrum. I don't know, Scorbunny or Sobble, or maybe just maybe Grookey's second or third evolution will be badass enough for me to be like, screw you both. I'm getting a monkey.
I don't know how you could hate on Grookey this much, man. I love Grookey. He is such a
I don't even like it. His tail looks like poop.
No, you don't. I don't see it. That is a tail. You can't convince me otherwise.
I don't like it. I don't like his ears either.
But he's got his little stick in his ears. It's fun.
I don't like him. Anyway, so
I love you.
Go ahead and talk about some of the changes from the previous Nintendo Switch Pokemon game, because some things that I didn't see that I wanted to see, and I'm a little disappointed. First off, No visible Pokemon in the wild.
Mm-hmm.
Random encounters are back. Now, I'm kind of like the tiptoe mechanic of Sun and Moon, so I'm kind of glad to see that back. But I like seeing Pokemon in the wild. I really did, because Pokemon Let's Go made the world vibrant. It is the first Pokemon game that truly captures like what the anime is always saying, that there are Pokemon all around you all the time. We work with our Pokemon. We live with our Pokemon. This world is populated by Pokemon. The first time we ever saw that really visually represented in a Pokemon game, mainline game, is Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. So I feel like it was a huge step back for them to remove the visible Pokemon in the wild. Also, it's nice to pick which Pokemon you want to battle and catch.
Mm-hmm.
So I found that to be, it's just super disappointing, because I really appreciated that in Pokemon Let's Go. The other thing that I noticed is actually back from previous generations are wild Pokemon battles. You can actually battle wild Pokemon this time around.
Mm-hmm.
So for the people who complained about Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, this mechanic is back. You can now battle wild Pokemon before you catch them. So I think that is very cool. Aside from that, they didn't show. I didn't notice.
There's no ride Pokemon or follow Pokemon that we saw.
Yes, we didn't see any follow Pokemon, which is again another bummer. Why is this a mechanic that only shows up in side games?
I don't know.
You know we want it. Like you 100% know we want it.
I think if we do get Diamond and Pearl remakes, that's when we'll see them. I think we'll see ride Pokemon return, or not ride, follow Pokemon return, at the very least follow Pokemon.
So we've got follow Pokemon in 3 games. Pokemon Yellow, the remake of Gold and Silver, Heart
Gold, Soul Silver.
And yeah, I don't know why I lost those.
And then Let's Go, Pikachu.
And Let's Go. All of those are either the 3rd iteration of the game or the remakes of the game. We've yet
all of them have Kanto.
Yes. Yeah, we have yet to see follow Pokemon in any like true mainline game. And that's like, we shouldn't have to keep asking for this. It's kind of annoying.
I feel like it's a lot of work for Pokemon Company though. And because
you just did it.
But you did it with only the first 151. So you don't, and Melmetal, I suppose. But you don't now, if you did it for Gen 8, how many do they really have to make? I think what they should do is they should make this game without follow Pokemon. They're going to make a remake of maybe Diamond and Pearl. And then at that point, they have already the first 151 ride Pokemon and follow Pokemon done from Let's Go. And they can work on the rest as they're making a remake that is less intensive to begin with, and then just add all of them in there. And then potentially after that remake, since there's already almost all the ride Pokemon in, we can do it in the next mainline game. It's a process, but they have a lot of Pokemon to make those animations for.
True, but it's not like they haven't been working on this game. Get one guy to do it. Get one guy or like a team that their specific purpose in this development is specifically follow Pokemon.
Okay.
Take like a 4-man cell, and it is their job to do walking animations for wild Pokemon. It bums me out. Okay. It bums me out. Because it's not like we don't see overworld Pokemon in these games. Most of the time
we saw Munchlax.
So yeah. Like it's literally there in the trailer. We see overworld Pokemon, so it shouldn't be that hard to do some walking animations. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not a game designer, still. But yeah, those are just a few things that I was able to see. Did you see anything else that was or removed or changed from Let's Go to this game with the minute and a half of gameplay that they showed?
We did. It's not that they were removed, maybe, but we don't have confirmation if there's one Joy-Con support, if there's Pokeball Go Plus support, or if there is 2-player. None of those were confirmed or denied, I suppose.
I can promise you, Pokeball Go support Plus is not in the game. Think of the Pokeball Go Plus as the Pokemon Walker. You will never use it again unless you go back to that game. I hate that the company does that. I really do, because I am still using my Pokeball Go Plus. Like, I use it every day. I mean, pretty much just in Pokemon Go, but I still use the crap out of this accessory. It is the best accessory they've ever made, and the gains you get from using it in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. You know how many rare candies I got with this thing? You know how many specific Pokemon candies I've got with this thing? Dude, the other day I loaded it up. I ended up with 99 rare candy. I was like, oh my god, I got 99. I'm going to boost everybody up, and I'm going after all the master trainers. Jeez. That's exactly what I did. Started taking on all the master trainers, like, rare candy, rare candy.
Jeez.
Screw that Charizard master trainer, by the way.
I at least want to see single Joy-Con. And maybe two-player. But the single Joy-Con was such a nice thing, because you don't need a lot of those buttons for Pokemon game, and I don't like being confined to needing two controllers. We do see.
How lazy I was so lazy. I'd be like, if you're watching the video version, you have the best access to what I'm doing right now. I am literally just leaning back in my chair, just messing around with my Pokeball Go Plus, and just walking back and forth. And that was the easy. I'd be sitting there with a soda in my hand. I'd be taking sips, or a coffee, or whatever. I'd be eating pizza. I don't know. I was so lazy with the one Joy-Con. I loved it. And I love the catch mechanics, man. I really did enjoy the catch mechanics of Let's Go.
What was I gonna say? I forgot. Oh well, I had a point.
We were talking about one-handedness.
Yeah, but I'm not sure where I was gonna go off of that because I feel like I had a point. Oh well, it's not important then.
No, but still, like, yeah, I would love for these mechanics to come back into the game. I really do. It's just something to be said. You're right. You don't need a whole lot of buttons. Another thing is...
Oh, I remember. So we see in the trailer that there is the third person over the shoulder from behind the back camera perspective in this game that makes a return from both X and Y, Sun and Moon, and technically Black and White. And so that makes a return, and people have been sort of thinking that, like, okay, if we do get that as the main perspective, they could do it where you have a stick to control the camera and a stick to control the player, and that would require the two Joy-Cons. But I'm glad to see that looks like the perspectives are fixed perspectives by area. So in certain areas you'll have the overhead, sometimes you'll have the behind the back, sometimes you have like a weird diagonal, but it looks like the cameras are fixed.
That's actually really, I didn't even notice that, but yeah, that's a really interesting view mechanic.
The third person camera has always been just so breathtaking whenever I see it in a Pokemon game. I love it. That's because how zoomed into the back of the trainer, like that perspective in Lumiose City in Kalos was so good. I loved exploring Lumiose just because of that perspective.
You know, I hope that there's like a snapshot mode in this game, just because of the way the region looks. I would love to be able to like climb to the mountain and then take like selfies from the top of those mountainous regions. Just little things like that I want to see in this game. But so yeah, I guess we can move on to our last topic for Pokemon Sword and Shield. Are you hyped now that we've seen gameplay to an extent? We've seen the graphics engine. Are you hyped that this is the first true Pokemon game on a home console?
No. So I don't necessarily care whether or not it's on a home console. And as far as the information that we've received, it's the confirmation that it exists. These are the names. These are the starters. You already knew that we would get the game. We knew that it existed already. We knew that it would have a name, and we knew that they would have starters. So, I mean, the information we got, we didn't know. We didn't already know that it wasn't coming, but we didn't know specifically what the starters would be, what the region was, and what the titles would be. And we got some things deconfirmed, which is neither here nor there to me. I'm indifferent to the overall Pokemon returning, etc. The ride Pokemon is a shame, but I'm not going to be turned off so much that I'm just so disappointed that I won't get it or care. Like, I love this no matter what. In terms of hype, I don't think I'm really hyped because there's nothing that I didn't already know was happening, except for FIFA. The FIFA soccer stadium was what really got me. And one thing I also want to point out, the trainer's jersey in that trailer is 227, which is oddly specific because, one, it's a 3-digit number, which makes me believe that it is, not because normally jerseys only have 2-digit numbers. So this is clearly a Pokemon number, and that's Skarmory's number. So what does Skarmory have the significance to in that soccer stadium? That I have to know. Sorry, I got psyched about the soccer. But I mean, that's the one thing like I did not know was happening that I'm super stoked about, because I didn't know I'd get soccer in my Pokemon game. I'm glad it's there. But it's if we got like an actual release date, I might have been actually a bit more hype. Because like we just got late 2019, which we kind of already knew.
Yeah, well, it was like pretty much like, yeah, December, guys, or I'm sorry, yeah. November.
Yeah, November
is pretty much what that's the time frame I'm guessing, like mid-November, or
that's what they've been doing for a while.
Late October, really late October, because that seems to be like where they like to start releasing these games. It's not a bad thing. It's just a little bit more consistency in the release window. A date would have been perfect, but I've come to expect very little from the Pokemon Company as far as actual
release dates. I mean, the one thing that they've been doing a good thing, like a good track record of, is getting these worldwide release dates all together. That has been huge for the past few games. Like back in the day, I was watching people play the Japanese version of Heart Gold Soul Silver because I wanted the game so bad. It wasn't going to come for the US for like another year, and it was ludicrous that I had to wait while the Japanese got this game a whole year before me. I was very upset, but now we all get it at the same time. I'm very pleased at that.
So I'm actually on the opposite end of the spectrum. I'm really hyped, but what got me hyped was seeing the graphics of this game.
Okay.
Seeing Pokemon really step into like the 3D era and in console space makes me happy. How much better the game looks on the Switch versus on the 3DS, because design-wise, if we're talking about just the art style, they didn't go too far away from what we've seen in Sun and Moon. So, from just a pure style standpoint, they're very similar. But when we talk about graphics, you start to note, just looking at the trailer again, you start to see things like, you start to see the individual bricks that make up the building, and you start to see, like, on the train tracks, you see things like rust and grime. Like, that stuff, I know it's small and it's almost unnoticeable, but if you're really watching the trailer, you're really digging into it, that's where you start to see, like, how much of a graphical difference is between this game and the previous generation. And that gets me hyped, because this is what I've wanted for years. I've really wanted a true console experience for Pokemon. And Pokemon Let's Go did a really good job of like scratching the surface of that. But here we have the true next evolution. So that got me really hyped. Now, aside from that, the region, because I'm so, enticed by the overall shape of the region, like the verticality of it all, like I'm intrigued by that, and that makes me a little bit excited as well, because it's like we've never had a region that looks like this. I can only imagine what to expect within it. Like, how do you actually traverse this region? Because it's gonna be weird, because normally we're used to going like up, left, right, side to side. You start to go all these different directions, and then you finally get to the top of the summit at the end. And this time it's like you're gradually going straight up until you get to that summit. I'm assuming those buildings at the top are the Pokemon League.
That seems to be the general consensus for what people think. I tried to think of other possibilities, and I couldn't. I just couldn't think of what else they could be. Maybe they just like a battle frontier, or just like a post game tower, just that. But it's honestly, I think that's just the Elite Four. I think that's just Elite Four final area. I don't know.
All right, so guys, that's going to wrap up our Pokemon Sword and Shield part of this discussion. We're going to take a 2-minute break, and when we come back, we're going to bid sayonara to Reggie in our second topic of this weekly period. So we'll be right back.
Here we go!